Hello everybody, today is October 24th, 2023. I'm going to title this video How to Gain Your Consciousness Part 1, say Point A. Because after I posted last video, I've received a lot of questions on people eager to know, okay, well that makes perfect sense on the last video. What's the next step, and so on and so on and so on. And so I figure, hey, might as well do another video, even though I plan on doing all of this anyway. These first videos will kind of be like a narration of the in-depth version of how to gain your consciousness. Those of you who haven't watched the part 1, the gist of it was basically, if you truly want to be awake, if you truly want to experience life or your existence to the fullest extent, the absolute first thing you have to do is you have to learn how to truly love yourself. And in order to truly love yourself, you have to stop feeling sorry for yourself. And if you truly stop feeling sorry for yourself, that kind of requires you to love everybody else, because anybody who would do something that would be perceived as negative towards you, you need to look at it as if they're not as conscious as you are. Therefore, they're more like a child. But I don't want to rehash that last video, so therefore I'm going to get into this one. Now, the next step, in my opinion, and keep in mind this is a rough version, of gaining your consciousness. Once you accept that you need to stop feeling sorry for yourself, that you need to learn how to love everybody, then it comes back to you truly, when you learn how to love yourself, truly love yourself unconditionally, it requires you to treat your body with respect, if you will. It requires you to recognize exactly what your body is to you, what your body does for you, and how all of this is kind of tied together. If you think about it, and you can research this yourself, you can find it online, it's easy to find, and there's a lot of sources that will say it. But we have more firing neurons in our brain than there are stars and planets in the universe. Stop and think about that. And those of you that don't know what firing neurons are, this is my layman terms on what it is. Basically, your nervous system sends a signal, let's say electronic signal, that arcs to the neuron, which gives perception, which translates through the brain as your illusion, if you will. Very raw. I'm sure a million people could argue and debate this. This isn't even for debate. I mean, this is a very general analysis of what a firing neuron is. If you want to know exact and more about it, all you gotta do is look it up. It's really easy to find. So you have more firing neurons in your brain than there are stars and planets in the universe. Now, stop and think about that. If you could build a supercomputer that could have as many switches, if you would, neurons, switches, receptors, that could receive as many signals as there are stars and planets in the universe, how big would that be? I mean, it'd be beyond your imagination. Now, imagine how much energy it would take to run a supercomputer like that, to simultaneously decipher as many signals as there are stars and planets in the universe. It would literally take all the power of the universe. But yet, every single one of us have that ability? Well, we know that it's not coming from how we treat ourselves. I mean, if you stop and think about it, look at the percentage of drug addictions that we have. Look at obesity. Look at addictions in general of the world. I mean, it is a problem. Now, take somebody who has no addictions. Take somebody that considers themselves very healthy and so on. Well, we all have an addiction of one form or another. We all do something to our body that we know is not right. Whether it be smoking tobacco, whether it be drinking, whether it be, eating that ice cream. When we know that, we might be lactose intolerant. Same thing with, wheat and so on. We all do something that we know we should. Why is that? Why, really stop and think. Why do we all treat our bodies anything other than exactly how we should treat them? We want a happy, fulfilling life. But yet we tend to not do the basic fundamentals of allowing this top, if you will, to spin perfectly. You are what you eat, you've heard before. Well, wow, look at that. So, I highly recommend when it comes to eating, go back to the basics. Look at mushrooms. Research it yourself. I'm not going to try to convince you on what to do. Research it yourself, but I think you'll find that other than, say, salt and sugar, mushrooms can provide you with majority of all the nutrients you need in order to survive and have a healthy life. And mushrooms are really easy to grow. I've grown them myself. But hey, don't take my word for it. Look into it for yourself. Now, when it comes to, stepping back to addictions again, I know how it is. Up until I woke up back in February, even past that, as you guys can see in the videos, it's up until really I left the United States, I had a chewing tobacco addiction. Hard addiction. You consider I'm 53 years old, and I had been chewing non-stop ever since I was 12 years old. Back in grade school, local farmer buddy of mine, friend, he turned me on to chewing tobacco. And at the time, my father was doing it too, so I felt it must be okay. And boy, that is a strong addiction. Even after gaining consciousness, if you will, I've still had moments when it's usually when I'm sleepy, right before, I need to let my body rest, is I'll get a little urge for chewing tobacco because it was great at shutting my brain down, letting me go right to sleep. But I know deep in my heart that doing one more chew would actually step me in reverse. I would probably lose just a little bit of consciousness because in essence, the only reason in this world I would do any more chewing tobacco would be because I'm feeling sorry for myself. You think about it. If you know it's horrible for you and you choose to do it you're doing it because you're in essence feeling sorry for yourself. You're wanting to give yourself your comforts that you're used to. I understand. I'm not judging by any means, but that's something you need to take a serious look at. When it comes to exercise, it doesn't matter what age you are. We all know that we could use more exercise. Everything tells you to get exercise. And if you think, oh well, I'm too large, I'm too heavy, I'm too old, I have too much arthritis, all these justifications that your brain wants to come up with to protect you, your illusion, I assure you, it's way easier than that. I've actually been practicing, I don't even know what it's called, I don't even know if it exists, but as I'm meditating or as I'm studying the BrainSync project, I will actually tighten up my body. I mean, I'll literally tighten up every single muscle. I will think about every single muscle. I will allow my brain to recognize every single part of my body. You know, I'll start up at the top of my head and I'll work my way down through my chest, through my lungs, through all my vital organs, through all my, pec muscles, every ounce of everything. And I will tighten it up as much as I can. And granted, initially, I got some Charlie horses. But I will tighten it up and I will work all the way through my body doing that. And it only took about 2 days before I was able to really tune this in. And as I'm meditating now, I can send shock waves through my body of tensing up muscles. I can kind of manipulate my body in different phases when I'm kind of in more of a present within my body instead of fully meditating. It's like, I think there's a technique called like resistance training. Well, I guess I would call this tension training. You should try it sometime. Just try flexing and tightening every single muscle in your body as long as you can and as tight as you can. Because within 1 week, I've seen a significant difference in my chest. That's the main thing I was concentrating on because honestly, that's the part that I see the most, and I wanted to see how quickly I could manipulate the appearance of it. Then when we get back to what we put in our body, we know that the preservatives are horrible. It's not easy anymore, is what your illusion wants to tell you, to find healthy things to eat, that going organic is more expensive and so on. One thing being in Thailand, I have learned, is it's way easier than you think it is. And actually it's a lot cheaper to eat the basics than it is to eat the food that you're probably used to consuming. Because when you give your body what it needs, and trust me, your cravings or your body, once you get past your initial purge of impurities within your food intake, if you will, I found it takes about 2 weeks until you stop craving all the sugar, all the sodium, all the excess that we tend to put in our bodies. Once you do that and you start truly eating more vegetables, more soups, less sodium, drop the caffeine, lower the sugar way down, you'll notice that your body starts hurting less. Your blood pressure starts going down. When you exercise, you don't heat up as much. It's really amazing. You should give it a try. I don't recommend doing anything too extreme. I mean, I have done a lot of fasting, but for legal reasons, I guess, if you will, I'll just say, hey, talk to your doctor. myself personally, I know that I know my body way better than any other doctor does, because I listen to my body. When I have a pain, I pay attention to it. I communicate with my body. You know, for example, when I was sick, I would respect and love my body. Instead of feeling sorry and constantly complaining or feeling negative thoughts in my head, I would stop and think how amazing it is that I have an immune system that is constantly working to protect me. I believe it was, let's see, like 1918 through 1919. 20 to 40 million people died from influenza, pandemic, which is in essence the flu. And we still have the flu today. It changes here and there each time and so on. I mean, there aren't new strands that come along. I think we're at like 60 strands, but they change a little bit. That's why you see all the different flu vaccines each year, is because your body will learn and remember how to protect you when it is exposed to the flu. Antibodies, if I remember correctly, is what they're called. You have an immune system that is constantly working for you, constantly protecting you from everything harmful to your body. And it asks really nothing in return. All it's doing is trying to keep you alive long enough until you choose to wake up and you choose to start recognizing how important it is. If you go to the bathroom and look in the mirror, I mean, truly look in the mirror, I recommend first choose an eye and get close to where you can focus directly on your eye. And for the first time in your life, stare into your eye. Look at the detail within your eye. Look at how it actually looks like its own little galaxy within. Allow your mind to float within your eye, if you will. And then notice how, if you keep doing it long enough, you'll start seeing 3 eyes. And if you relax your mind and relax your eyes, you know, allow your eyes to go out of focus and just be, then you'll notice you'll see only 1 eye. And eventually you won't even see a face. Nobody else in the world can see that other than you. So step back after you've done that. Once you've actually seen yourself without your face, and then look at your face again and respect that all of these cells that make up your face, all of your tissue that protects your body and your organs, each cell would not be able to stay connected together if it wasn't for the energy you have from within you. Now, I've said many times before, I respect all religions. I really do. I know that there's a tremendous amount of truths in all of them. That's why our brains have held on to them for so long. I also know that there's some non-truths within them. But every single religion, whether it be Christian, Judaism, Buddhism, shamanism, even Satanism, or magic, or Wiccan, or look at all of them. When you look at the truths, they all come down to saying the exact same thing. And all of them say you kind of need to purge all the negative. All of them say you need to treat your body with respect. I mean, look at Islam, look at Buddhism, look at Judaism, look at Christianity. It's not coincidental that all of them talk about fasting. You know, think about that. I bet you if you look in every single religion, all of them are going to tell you that purification of what you put in your body is important. And don't overindulge. But I'm going to wrap this one up because I just really want you guys to appreciate and respect your body. You know, for all of you out there that have had or do have insecurities, I assure you, nobody sees you as negatively as your brain does. And your brain was programmed to feel this way, to judge this way, by non-conscious people. Your God within you, or your wherever you get your energy, the universe or whatever, I guarantee you, it does not want you to view yourself poorly. And the truth is, you know if you're doing something wrong to your body. You know whether or not you're treating it with respect. And if you're not, ask yourself why. What got you here will not get you where you want to be. So please, out of love for yourself, self-reflect. Go to the mirror and look at your reflection. And on a closing note, from a quantum physics perspective, on the other side of infinity is a mirror image. Negative, positive. Well, one thing I know is that we are all truly living the negative first mirror image until we choose to stop feeling sorry for ourselves and recognize all the positive and let go of all the negative within our life. And as we do that, infinity starts getting smaller and smaller and smaller until you've gained your full consciousness, and then you realize that actually infinity boils down to just one. You become one with yourself. You recognize that everything is connected, that we're all one, and so on and so on. And something even more extreme, you begin to realize that there is actually infinity of infinity of infinity of infinity. But that's for another video. I love you guys. Please look at yourself in the mirror and find the beauty. Even if it's simply the fact that your body would not be what it is if you didn't have this energy within you. So appreciate what your body does for you, and please stop abusing it. Until next time, have a great night. Bye-bye.